All right, guys, before we get into the video, I want to talk about my YouTube membership program. Every week, I'm offering Metagame Monday After Dark, where I am laying out the blueprint for how to attack the metagame in the coming week. It's the exact same stuff that I'm going to be applying to my decks. You have a front row seat to that. Then I'm also playing Eyes on the Prize, where Eureka22422 and I will be playing out the finals matchups from the previous week of the Legacy Challenges, and you get to see awesome situations like Super Shredder beating turn 3 Emrakul attack. Then, of course, I'm also recording my challenge runs. Sometimes they end up in a win. You have a challenge from round 1 all the way to the finals. And, of course, my 5-0 league runs. All of that stuff is exclusive to my YouTube members. So make the $5 investment, and I'll see you over there. Now enjoy the video. Hey, what's up, guys? Let's play some more Flow State decks. Dimir Tempo is a somewhat obvious winner of this card getting printed. At least that's the level 1 thinking. It didn't take me much convincing to put it in my already Ponder Thoughtseize Days Force of Will deck. This version, I've chosen to go with Nethergoyf to have more proactive elements. I think that is especially good early on in metagames where you don't really know, which decks you're going to be fighting, what trends are going up. So in the case of that, I love being proactive, and having a 1 mana, hopefully 4/5, certainly enables that. I have been forced to trim in order to fit flow states, so I got rid of the 4th Bowmaster, I got rid of the Brazen Borrower, and I got rid of the 2 Kaitos. Kaito, sure, it doubled as, a win con and card advantage engine, but so does flow state, really. It digs for win cons, right? And it's card advantage. So, excuse me, that should be pretty solid. Only 3 Ponders. You can play 4 if you want. No Brazen Borrowers. You can play the first one if you want. I guess you can cut a Daze from the deck. You can do a little bit of trimming, but at the end of the day, we had to fit flow state somehow. And oh wow, that's what we're gonna do. Essentially, right now, people are very obsessed with just playing with flow state, right? So, oh yeah, Jeskai Control, or Doomsday, or Show and Tell, or Dimir, or Izzet, or Reanimator, right? So lots of different decks can play this card in theory. And that is a lot of like level 1 thinking of the card. How can I make it good? Oh, I need this amount of sorceries. I need this amount of instants, and then maybe Mystic Sanctuary. And I can. So right now, the blue legacy community is kind of doing its own thing. What I'm more interested in is what the other guys will be doing with that trend in mind. So will people play more big mana decks because we are spinning our wheels and getting slower? Will people play more energy decks because we're, again, the same point? Will people play more ways to try and counter the card because it's backbreaking for their strategy? Will people change decks that are weak to, card advantage spells like this? Will people keep playing them and try and go over the top with, the aforementioned Sanctuary, etc., etc.? So the whole point is there's a lot of uncertainties right now. So you just have to take these lists with a grain of salt. You're going to be seeing some 5-0 lists. You're going to want to try them out, and maybe they become some kind of the new metagame, and then there's going to be a reaction to that. So if you stay on your toes, Legacy is very, I'm not going to necessarily say cyclical, but it's very dynamic, at least let me put it that way. Anyway, sideboard, we're trying to address big mana, red spells. By the way, second Hydro could be on the chopping block. I'll think about that. 2 negations for any combo, Massacre for energy, Baragoi for any fair deck, Edict, you know the drill. It's Myriad Lage coverage that also does stuff in any fair matchup, and then Surgicals for oops. If I were to replace the Hydroblast right now, what would I put in the deck? Great question. Thank you for asking. I think a card I'm really close to playing is Harbinger, because my deck got a lot worse against lands. So let's say lands becomes like an 8 to 10%, really forced top 3 deck in the metagame, really just a sure thing at the top tables, then I really have to rebuild this and fit 2 Harbingers. But for now, let's try and dodge that and let the good times flow. All right, we're on the play here. This hand looks fine. I'm pretty sure my opponent likes to play creature strategies. I remember playing against this player in a challenge where they were on some unique creature strategy. I can't remember the name of the companion, but it was like a mono creature deck, if I recall correctly. Okay, these cards are pretty darn strong, so maybe I want all of these. So if my opponent goes turn 1 Ocelot, turn 1 Ocelot Pride, I have Bowmasters. If they don't, we can kind of slow down. Cast Thoughtseize. And then again, I'm basing it all off of playing against this player, but also doing some Metagame Monday research where I think the player has been toying around with different creature strategies. Chrome Mox. I'm going to allow it. My opponent is pitching to Chrome Mox. Usually that's good for me because my deck is good at slowing down the game, so the mana burst is going to be less consequential to me. Pitching Oliphant. Okay, so my opponent is cooking, as usual. Let's see the Cavern. That would just be nasty. Oh, wow. Ursa Saga. Okay. So, no Ocelot Pride. Ursa Saga. That is going to be tough. What is this card? Why would you be playing Oliphant? Detective's Phoenix. I don't think this card does a lot. We can... So I guess Phoenix and Oliphant are good together, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this. My next card down is Snuff Out. Do I want that card? I guess I do. That card seems solid. Let's cast Thoughtseize. With this run out, we kind of know the opponent has a land. Oh, wow. Hollow one. I wonder... So how do they... So is this like some Burning Inquiry deck? Maybe there's a new printing I didn't know about. So the opponent now has Urza Saga online, which is scary. Funnily enough, Massacre is on against the Plateau deck in case my opponent has some small creatures. Now I'm going to be drawing the Snuff Out. I'm going to be playing Land Pass here. I don't love it. Let me put it that way. So I guess I have to fetch on my opponent's turn, but that's not a big deal. I think that's totally fine. Because if they have a Needle in the deck. Another token. Yeah, this is going to be troublesome. No Wasteland for the Saga and then some questionable beatdown. Looks to be enough for the opponent to make a splash. It looks like I can leave my opponent with just the Phoenix. But let's see what they go and tutor up here. Because I... Skateboard. Yes. And now they tap that down. That's a good play from the opponent. So I should probably go and build this one. And now if they do have the land Bowmasters... Oh, okay, that card is annoying. Because I was about to say Bowmaster still takes care of the construct. Here's a spell. So now I have to do Snuff Out on that creature. Well, I don't have to. The opponent has one card in hand. How do I stabilize? Because this card I have to deal with eventually. But that's just a Tameo, right? Okay. So now do I Snuff Out that card, go to 7? Or do I double chump block it and kind of postpone that decision? Not easy, not easy. I could see Bowmastering. I don't think those bodies will be that important. So Orcish Bowmasters. Unfortunately, the Chrome here was a good card for the opponent, so I couldn't kill it, the construct in combat. That would have been awesome. Land here is kind of bad. Now I'm just going to attack with Bowmasters and 4 mana snuff out the construct. We're a little bit in trouble here, but we're just a Tameo or Murktide away from, you know, stabilizing. We have 4 flow states in our deck. We also have bad cards like Thoughtseize. Let's see if we get to Cycle Eagle. So the opponent has those land cyclers and they're looking to go like Detective Phoenix. I wonder what they use to kind of get Hollow One up and running. And they're tapping out here for something, so I get to... Okay, I knew about that. So let's see here. Kill. Daze the Hollow One. So they have, you know, the thing is that any creature with Skateboard is just super dangerous. Let's see if we can find the card that stabilizes. We cannot. Staying back seems like a little bit of a losing strategy, but attacking seems inconsequential as well. So staying back here is fine. I couldn't even name the creature that I'm looking to, you know, block. So that's a little bit of an issue. Okay, so the opponent's an Urza's Saga deck with weird Cyclers and Phoenix. Hollow One. But how are they? Do they play like Looting, Burning Inquiry? I have no idea about that. Let's see if they drew an action card. Okay. So the opponent missed a damage here. I'm going to do this instead of holding up Hardcast Force, which really sucks. Well, I think it's time to attack. All right. It's time for my deck to deliver. This is not going to win the game against Boros Hasters. Funnily enough, Hollow One, super solid against Fatal Push. Street Wraith. Yeah, let's do it onto the opponent. Street Wraith and Hollow One. That makes sense. Currency Converter. That also makes sense as a Saga target. Cycle. So this way with the Cyclers, maybe they play 4 of this card. Because now it works as a 2-2 if I recall correctly. So now they can make the 2-2, equip it with Skateboard. That's kind of cool. And I really, really, really need my Murktide Regent. I'm losing hard to the Currency Converter. Here's the Chum Block. If I had Bowmaster staying back, I probably double block. All right, all right. That was too many bad draws to be competitive. That's just magic. Hydro is playable. Let's think about what we saw. Vargoyf seems insane. It looks like Daze and Force of Will are not ideal. Force of Willing Hollow One, I mean, that's good and all. I don't think that's what the game is about. I love these cards. It looks like Edict is not great. Consigned to Memory actually has good crossover because it counters Hollow One on the stack. Funnily enough, Bowmasters is decent against the Currency Converter Street Wraith deck without being insanely good. Fatal Push. Is Fatal Push good? It can kill Saga tokens. It can kill Phoenix, but Phoenix comes back, so that kind of sucks. I think the plan is that Wasteland and Consign just holds the fort against Saga. I'm not planning to push tokens. I think that's a losing situation to hope to occur. I'm interested in Surgical. Surgical extraction. Does that make any sense to play with? It's just that these pushes are probably bad. But there could be something in my opponent's deck that I'm missing. Maybe the move is to go some split of these 4. I wonder what the best split is. I could go 2 of each and trim Bowmaster. We can try that. Bringing in Surgical against an aggro deck is not exactly my definition of a good time, but I think I have to do it. Okay. This hand is not great, but it can play the game. Let's see. Is my opponent ever a Wasteland deck? I don't think so. So I should play turn 1 C, because if I draw Cameo and I need to Wasteland my opponent, I need blue mana in play. This could also be Ponder or whatever, right? The opponent's on a multi-5, which is obviously very strong for my Thoughtseize double Wasteland hand that needs time. I'm a little bit scared that the opponent could have some kind of explosive element like initiative creatures. Okay. Discard a card. Gains lifelink. That card is good, but currency converter's better. Let's do that. And then I'm trying to use Wasteland to keep my opponent down and Edict once this academic hits the board. Pretty cool card there. Basic Island. So now, am I surgicaling this Oliphant? I think I am. I think I'm interested in trading off like a card in my hand for a card in my opponent's hand, which is kind of funny. Let's do it now so they don't cycle stuff in response. Oliphant gone. Let's see what their fresh draw is. Phoenix, all right. Now, do I want my opponent to have this card in their deck? That is the next question. Do I want my opponent to have that card in their deck? Okay, so they have 4 of this card. They also have 4 of this little guy, so push is actually good against my opponent's deck. Whoopsie. Flying Haste. So that's just going to die to Edict at some point. Do I want my opponent to have Oliphant in their deck? Do I want them to draw that card? Probably not, because right now, trying to run my opponent out of mana, it's kind of a strategy. Yep. Wasteland resolves, and my opponent is down to not that. Those 3. Okay. And we have nothing going on, so also worth noting, flow state is on. That's just something that's a new thing to kind of keep track of. Let's see if the opponent drew a play. Mountain. Pass, bobble. Let's see. The opponent's going to draw. They're going to draw Eagle. Okay. Eagle is a white source. It's a basic plains, as a matter of fact. Draw Extraction. Do I want them to draw the Eagle? Yeah, I'm not going to do anything fancy here. So now in theory, I can hope my opponent wants to plain cycle for a tap land. Or they can go bulletproof or the plains. Let's see. They go for the plateau. Okay, that's good for me. I wonder if I checked the deck and I would have found... Oh, they're playing that card out, and then I edict it. Perfect. So this is a card that just dies to Bowmaster. Yeah, that's really not ideal. Here's Edict. Yep. But yeah, I need a Fatal Push in my deck for game 3 if I get there. I mean, right now it's looking solid, but let's see. Brainstorm is a card that is very likely to deliver me a good card, but I could also see a situation where it breaks and I'm very sad. I guess worst case, I'm going to be building my own shuffle effect with Surgical. Yeah, we got to a bit better spot than worst case. So if I put back those two, play Tameo, wasteland my opponent's white source. If I wasteland my opponent's white source, I'm bad against Ursa's Saga off the top of my opponent's deck. Maybe the Saga is beatable with, you know, card advantage coming, etc. But it is a good concern that if they draw that card, you know, we have a game. So my top card is Surgical Extraction, which I considered my worst card at the time. Let's go land drop, flow state, and see if we have better cards. I don't necessarily have better cards here. I should go these two. And now I don't know anything about my opponent's hand, and I need to worry about closing the game out. Here's Ursa Saga. All right. That's a good one. That is a good one. So now let's draw. Nethergoyf is also a good one. Let's attack with Tameo and deploy a 4/5. I wonder if I should sack a clue or develop Bowmaster. I think my move is going to be develop Bowmaster, and I'm trying to fight the Saga. But let's see about that. This I knew was the punishment when I went for their white mana. Here's Mox Opal, which is not turned on, but it will be when the opponent gets the token. So let's try and get some more damage going. I have Snuff out for the token. Thoughtseize. That's not the best. Yes, let's crack a clue. See if there's a wasteland hiding in my future. No wasteland, but an edict. That's okay. So now let's attack with everybody and snuff out the token. I'm trying to think if I fire this Thoughtseize, or I think the life total is going to be too important. I'll probably fire it. I don't love it, but here we go. Fury, okay. I'm happy with that now. But the thing is, my opponent can make like a hasted token and start attacking. But maybe that's not the end of the world. Let's see. Things are looking a little bit grim here. I certainly regret the wasteland dynamic. The opponent didn't find it the first turn, which, you know, would have been a lot worse. Finding it the second turn was a good draw. And it's making things a little bit awkward here. Oh, here's currency converter. So I guess my opponent drew something that lets them make a 2/2. That's kind of cool. So now they actually have good timing here with, like, if I edict, they can make a token in response. That's pretty cool. So I think the only thing I can do is attack with Nethergoyf and Tameo alone. Maybe I shouldn't even attack with Tameo at this point. Maybe I should chill. Okay, let's try and chill with that card. So the opponent takes the damage. That is good for me. They're at 9. I think I should flow state and try and hit a land. I do hit a land, and I do hit another flow state, so I think I should go for that. Consignus is solid and all. Let's go for that. Let's pass. And then my thinking is they have a cycler, but maybe they don't. But they don't. They're just playing to, get to the cycler, I guess. Because that will give a stream of 2/2s, which could stabilize. Another currency converter. I think this is where I fire my edict. Let's have my opponent sacrifice a token, because if they do have the cycler, then they have to act now to save the token, and then they lose out on a token from a 2/2 from the new currency converter. Okay, so they did have a cycler, but it was a 2-mana cycler. So now I get to ping. Let's ping the opponent. And now they will sacrifice that one instead. That makes a lot of sense. Now I have to think about what I'm doing with my surgical. Am I ever getting rid of all sagas? Because that card is kind of crushing me. Because they could have drawn Ursa Saga right now, and I really don't want that to happen. Also, that construct is now a 5/5, so lots of annoying things going on here. Am I surgicaling the saga now, or will I find a better target later? Magic is a tough game. Let's try and get rid of the sagas here. They have Detective Phoenix in hand, which is scary. Just trying to have a look at their deck again, because they have a lot of currency converters, apparently. 3 pieces. Okay. Let's see. Is there punishment for leaving one in the opponent's graveyard? Because I am playing with Baragoyf in my deck, which theoretically wants the enchantment. Bleeding Spirit. Oh man, my opponent's really living the dream with this deck. It looks like I can leave the enchantment and exile the ones from the deck. All right. Let's try it. So the opponent has Phoenix in hand. Phoenix is scary because it gives flying, of course, but we have that covered. Let's, with a flying blocker as we speak, let's see if we can find like removal spell, Murktide, all of that. Man, this is terrible. 3 lands. What type am I missing? I'm missing creature in my graveyard. So I should try and surveil my way to that creature, because if I surveil a creature, I can attack, which would be huge. I don't surveil a creature. I surveil a terrible card. Man. Okay, so now we're stalled. If I attack with everybody, that's not really going to do anything. Then I get in for 3 and lose my Nethergoyf. So what I could have done there is try and spike exactly the 1 snuff out left, which would put me to 3. Okay. So I actually have 2 cards that was a reason I should have clued on my own turn. It's 1 bauble, which would then gives me access to the delayed draw on my turn. And it's the 1 snuff out, I believe. 1 snuff out there. Yeah. So I had 2 reasons to crack clue versus the, I don't know what you want to call this, bluff equity or whatever. So it looks like the opponent is in big enough trouble to activate here. Let's see, 2 converters. Does that even make sense? Like, is that even double? I don't think it is. Oh, they would... oh, they just put it right back for a 2/2. Sure, got it. Okay, complicated deck is complicated over there. So now they end up with Detective's Phoenix onto Construct, which is then lethal. All I can do is then crack a clue block and then hope that I stabilize with my draw. Now, worth noting, that is even all the way down to... oh, onto that guy. I guess we should give the illusion that we have days in our deck here, which we don't. Terrible draw. Terrible. So now the opponent holding the fort with the 5/5, which seems to be working. And getting in there with the flyer, which is something I have to accept. Brainstorm is amazing, but it robs me of a flyer for the following turn, which I'm a little bit scared of, because that would make the rogue token lethal. But I think I have to trust my deck in this regard. Like, I have Hydro's Edict, etc. Because I win if I can remove this construct. So let's brainstorm. Flipping the Tameo beforehand because I might need to cast sorcery speed stuff. So I'm losing out on a clue. Well, easy putbacks. Huh. So I wonder if going to 2 is a problem. Funnily enough, I saw Pirate Spellbomb in my opponent's deck, which is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious card to have lying around, which would kill me. So what if I just go Murktide Regent, Tameo, and then I kind of swing the pendulum, and I don't lose to... yeah, I should do that. And I don't lose to the Pirate Spellbomb. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's Murktide Regent. So I know my top card. My top cards are very bad. So maybe play Tameo, play Fetch Land without necessarily cracking it. What happens if I attack with Nethergoyf and Orc Army? Then the opponent eats Nethergoyf. Orc Army puts them to 4. I don't think it changes anything. I should chill here. Pass. My top 2 cards are bad. Thoughtseize and Land, if I recall correctly. Yeah. First match always delivers. This is pretty cool. In general, my opponent built a cool deck that, I mean, they're obviously, you know, running what I don't know the nice word for it, but like suboptimal deck as a whole, right? But the creativity here is off the charts, and funnily enough, the resilience is good against is good against a deck like mine. So we have an awesome match in our hands here. So now it's basically up to the opponent to come up with something pretty special. Because I have access to removal spell out of my graveyard if I get to untap with the Tameo. So they need some good stuff. Also, they can't really just keep digging because of Bowmaster tax. Let's see what the play is. Let's see the play, buddy. My objective right now, all I have to do is clear 1 blocker. Okay, never mind. So here's a cycle. 2 mana cycle. We do like that. Let's Bowmaster our opponent's life total. We're getting closer to the point where my orc army is also lethal, which is good. So now the opponent has access to a 2/2 coming out of the converter, which is good, you know, ground creature. Oh, I just realized this is a black rogue token, so that does not get snuff outed. So my opponent's flying blocker is actually safe and sound. This is amazing. This is amazing. Here's another Phoenix. Doing what exactly? Just pumping up the construct? I mean, it's not bad, right? So now the opponent has 2 flyers, so do I. So far, so good. And I don't think they can do anything but pass here. Now I'm actually going to just say, Pirate Spellbomb, you can come at me. Draw. Land is abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And sign. Huh. And sign. So how do I play here? If I return the snuff out, let's do the math. If I return the snuff out, Murktide gets bigger, all of that is good and all. Then I kill the construct. What happens if I attack with everybody? The opponent can make a random 2/2, which then blocks. So now the opponent would have to block the big one. So they survive at 1. Unless I can find a way to put a creature in my graveyard. That's kind of been the topic. Putting a creature in my graveyard would win the game. No, I guess they just chumblug over there and they take 5 from Army and Bowmaster. So we're very close. What happens if I just attack with Mark? There's something about my opponent saving up for 2 lethal flyers. If I attack with Mark, one of them dies. Well, if I return Snuff out, force the chump. That's probably what I have to do. Return Snuff out, 4 mana kill the... No, then there's an actual Phoenix in play. Never mind. Oh, I just got lost in this game. So plussing Tameo is good. For that, oh boy. I will return Flow State and try and find 2 good cards off Flow State. This is scary. Cast Flow State. Find Baragoyf. Flow State. Is that better than Baragoyf? Baragoyf. Let's see. Baragoyf Flow State is probably slightly better. I think I have to hold up Consign, but that's all right. So basically now... I need 2 flyers. I'll try and pass the turn and then use the Baragoyf turn as my turning the corner. Holy smokes. This one certainly delivered. Here's a 2/2. This card is not known anymore. Probably hasn't been for many turns. This is a little bit messy. I'm certainly not the best with these games on camera when there's a million things to take into account. Hope you guys are sticking with me regardless. It's so funny, like the opponent mulliganed to 5. I had Wasteland double Thoughtseize. Drew terribly for a while the opponent drew serviceably. So then we have a game like that's, first of all, that's what we want, right? We don't want our opponent to just crumble. But it's just to say that that is 10 turns ago. Exile 3 cards so you can gain first strike, discard a card, exile it, and return it. So that's kind of a... I don't know what to call this. Infinite blocker. As long as if you discard a card, then it's like it blocks favorably against Baragoyf. Okay, that's cool. So I can consign it on the way back, which is not nothing. Oh man, this game is so funny. So if the opponent attacks with two things here, I will have to chum block and eat a construct, and then my opponent has a Phoenix on the battlefield. Okay. So this gives the opponent a 2/2, I guess. So now this is where I consign it on the way back, because then I'm guaranteed to get my life points here from Baragoyf. Uh-huh. Let's stifle it on the way back. Take the turn, plus Tamia before we forget. Cast Flow State. I've been grinding my whole life. Those two clowns are good. Okay, let's cast Ponder, see what happens. These cards are also good. Is this the end? I like the Hydro, because it can kind of kill a Phoenix at a good time for me. Let's slam Murktide Regent. Sorcery. Sorcery. Instant. Slam Merc. Get a ginormous Merc. So what happens now if I kill one of the Phoenixes and attack with everybody? This is a short chump. That one is a chump from the, you know, leftover flyer. So maybe I can put on pressure here. Actually, don't know. Let me just attack with the two big ones. Maybe I could have done something smart there. I'm getting a little bit pressured on time here, which is funny. Now the opponent will get a 2/2. That's all good. And then depending on what the opponent wants to do, I can consider some hydroblasting for combat reasons. So this seems like a case for that, where I go destroy the Phoenix, and then the Baragoyf lives. I gain 6. Still have a flying blocker. Pass. And it looks like we got it. Turning the corner there with a nice little... Here it is. The spell bomb, a little bit too late. I think this is fine, but yeah, that would have done it last turn. I can't remember if maybe I had consigned the whole time, the other consign, who knows. It looks like the big boys got there, and then I have 6 minutes to play a game 3. Oh man, what a grind. What a grind. So now I've learned that Fatal Push is pretty darn solid against those clowns. Maybe Bowmasters is just bad, period. We can cut those. Surgical, I actually don't believe in that card. Maybe one Bowmasters is all right here. Those zombies are good. Question is if having a Singleton Massacre in my deck is better than a Bowmaster. We can try it. I'm not too worried about what is slightly more optimal. It would be pretty cool to kill some zombies with that card. All right, we have to speed up here, otherwise we're going to be in time trouble for the first time on the channel, I would imagine. This seems like a very corner case scenario. Because this deck is not quite a tempo deck and not quite a control deck, right? So there's this time period in the middle where lots of bad stuff can happen. Like any engine card is good against my deck. So that would be Currency Converter. That would be the Phoenix card that keeps coming back. It's just really, really annoying to play against off metagame decks with most of, to be honest, most decks that I play, but especially a deck like Dimir Tempo. Because with Issa Tempo, you can kind of run them over. With decks like, I don't know, Beans or Jeskai Wizards, you can, you know, kind of like dominate them engine-wise. But here we're just at the mercy of some annoying cards combined. All right, Zero Lands. Bad habit. I've had a lot of those recently, I feel like. Mulliganed a lot with fair decks. That's obviously just like recency bias or whatever. But I always make note of that. Like when I play a challenge and I do well, I certainly haven't had a million mulligan situations. Let's see. Maybe the Massacre can just kill a random creature like the, I can't remember the name of it. The Mac. Oh wow, turn one hollow one. That we're ginormously soft to turn one hollow one. Our deck only has 2 snuff outs against it. Opal. Mountain. No hollow one. Wow, that's unlucky for the opponent. That card would have crushed me here. Yeah, this is very bad. So let's Thoughtseize and hope our opponent's hand is equally bad. So those Furies I actually don't care about. Funnily enough, if these guys ever see play, that means they have a Plains. So I guess we just take one of them. So this card dies to Massacre, yes. If they draw Plains, I just Massacre it and we move on with our day. That's, you know, that's not nothing. Ancient Tomb. Oh, they found a good card. Well, they found Detective Phoenix. Well, that's not nothing. I wonder, I probably have to Wasteland my opponent here. Okay, that draws good. So now we're kind of in the same spot of, yeah, we Wasteland, and then there's the time period where Urza's Saga is good. Oh, wait a minute. My opponent's gonna... Yeah, I played this poorly. Man, when will I learn to play Magic? Not today. When will I learn? Because I need to play the Tamiya with Hydroblast backup, and I should have just played Tamiya with holding up mana here, then countered the Fury. But I was not strong enough for that. So I guess I'm rooting my opponent draws Plains here. I guess they didn't. Here's Flow State, which will be on when I Hydroblast my opponent's, at the very least, the first Fury. If they're willing to go all the way, that's totally fine. And then there's this time period where I'm looking for Baragoi for Murktide Regent. Fury Pitch Fury, that makes sense. I will Hydroblast that card. Very good exchange. Good old 2-for-1. Let's see what the opponent has going on here. Drawing Plateau would be amazing for me. They attack. I'll block. I don't know what the bluff is, but I'll do it. Okay, no bluff. Here's Edict. Not a very interesting card right now. Let's cast Flow State and see what's going on before making a move. Wow. Terrible cards. Absolutely atrocious. Let's grab those two. Then Yeah, let's attack. Trade damage for cards. Ugh. This is scary, because if the opponent draws this one, a land for this one, we're taking more damage. But then I can massacre, so it's a little bit sketchy. Maybe the opponent doesn't... Oh, this can only find mountains. Never mind. Let's just go ahead and surveil here and save a little bit of time. Phoenix getting in there. I'm desperately looking for my fatties. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. I think this is flip Tameo time. And hope to get off a good massacre. Draw. That is good. It's probably better for me to flip with Brainstorm because it allows me to develop stuff like, I don't know, Nethergoyf and what have you. Or hold up some stuff. Cameos seem bad. I can get rid of both of those. Flip plus land pass, I believe. So now I'm looking to massacre my opponent and play Murktide Regent. I'll shuffle away the two Tamios in a pinch here. Consign handles Ursa Saga, which is good. Yes, you got it. So the opponent, if they can get cards to leave the graveyard, they can kind of make Massacre worse, which is, you know, that's kind of annoying. Ooh. Yeah, now I'll consign this. Fetch, consign, not the evoke. And then the opponent will attack it for 2. I'll massacre away the clowns and play Marktide. Oh, they're going for the life total. Wow. They're looking to get me to 7 here. Massacre. Now what? Why would the opponent do that? Let's play 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I can remove the last instant in here. Oh, I already did. I think I played this as an 8. Because it's pretty easy for me to get an instant into the graveyard with Edict. Then I have Flow State and Edict. Let's see what the opponent's plan was. Because they certainly had a plan here trying to get me to 7. Yes. So this is a card I will kill with Fatal. This is close. Because Edict takes care of everything later. No, I should Fatal. This is actually close. Yeah, let me Fatal push that card. So now the opponent has the Phoenix, which is of course annoying. Tameo's good. It blocks. So what I could do now is Edict attack for 8. That's probably the move. Sheldred's Edict. Have them lose that card. Plus, and then just play a blocker. So now I have lethal and I can draw my deck. And it's up to the opponent to deal me 7. I think we got there after a crazy match. But let's see. Let's see. What did I miss? Okay. Cycle Hollow 1. All right. That was insane. Really enjoyed that one. Probably would have been a lot higher quality if not trying to speak my second language and record the match. But I hope you guys enjoyed that one because that was a marathon. A big marathon. I mean, sweet creation from my opponent. And yeah, we barely get over the finish line. Okay, you'll have to see it. Let's try and play some more. Guys, quick pause on the video here. I want to tell you why you should consider becoming a Book Smart Baron over on my MetaFi. I have high-level strategy articles. I have a free tournament series with thousands of treasure chests up for grabs, and of course, unique art for the yearly finals. I have 300 plus players sharing their ups and downs on their journey. I have the challenge calls with a bunch of guys spectating each other's road towards greatness. I have a smattering of VIPs. I have the best guest primers from the absolute biggest killers in the legacy scene. And here are some testimonials for you to read. And of course, I have my own tried and tested deck guides for my favorite decks that either I've done 5-0s with or top 8 challenges. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Use code ECO50 to save off of your first month. If you don't like it, I'll refund you. Now, let's get back to the video. All right, what a grind we just had. Let's see what's going on with this one. This hand looks fine. We get to learn what the opponent's playing and then make choices accordingly. Worth noting is our hand does not turn on flow state as things stand. Basic Island, that could be anything, but it's a little bit peculiar opener. Underground Sea is a good draw. I feel like I can play Bobble Pass here, react to what's going on, and then inform my next draw. This could be a bigger blue deck. This could be a Stifle deck. This could be a Show and Tell deck. Ooh, looks like good old Control. The Vignette. That is hilarious because that card is actually pretty good against my hand. Which deck is playing main deck Lavinia? I think my move here is just Force Pitch Force, to be honest. I guess maybe okay, let's chill. I think maybe I bobble myself first, because if I just have a Fatal Push here, I'm not going to kick up any fuzz. I have a land, so now I am going to kick up a fuzz. I'm going to Force Pitch Force with the logic of, well, if that card's in play, my opponent's going to do the same. That's funny. My Force is dead anyway, and if the opponent fights back, I don't have any other cards here that are, you know, hurt by it, so I think I'm reasonably happy with what just happened. All right, let's surveil away that land. Thoughtseize is not bad. I'll certainly take it. And then I have a delayed draw coming on my turn. My opponent has a 2-2. I'm not too worried about that. Also, that sorcery, it's actually insane because of flow state. I didn't think about it. So I guess let's play the land and let's not get dazed. Let's Thoughtseize our opponent's remaining best card and then rebuild with flow state. My opponent's remaining best card is certainly Tamio. So let's pass. Now I'm in a great spot because my opponent draws a blue card. They have to force the flow state, and I have Brainstorm. They don't draw a blue card. I'm casting a good draw too without being under too much pressure. So great spot here. The opponent passes the turn. And I draw Fatal Push like an absolute champ of the game. Now, can I get my opponent to force a will a Fatal Push? Let's see. I think this is a great spot for my opponent to be all in on Lavinia. Didn't happen. Never mind. Am I ever hedging against Back to Basics? I think I should with Basic Island. Let's see. If this resolves, I think they drew Plow. Not the best flow state, but still super solid, right? A must deal with. And then just card quantity is good because of Rainstorm. Scary here with the third land drop. Yeah, let's play Tamio. I feel like that is a must force. But let's see what the opponent thinks. Yeah, they're forcing it. Now, am I brainstorming here? Yes, so I might as well do it in response. I see a lot of players clicking just okay here and then brainstorming, but if you're going to do that, you might as well do it in response. Because just imagine like some weird brainstorm of land force, right? Then you're going to be so sad you didn't do it in response. And we more or less hit that. I should fight over this. I should try and get this Tamio going. I feel like the opponent's losing the game if we get to do our job here. Put those two back. Countered pitch ponder. So another reason for this is it's very easy to think about Magic in a, what's that word called? Like in the abstract of, oh wow, they forced my Tamio. What a good exchange. Which is true in a vacuum, right? So now I have some thinking to do. That fatal push on top of my deck might be good, might be bad. So I think I'll actually postpone my decision here. So let's say the opponent draws Tamio. I want that card. Let's say they draw whatever. I don't want that card. So the opponent's digging for a white removal. They will have ending, plow, whatever. Here's plow. Okay. So now comes the question, do I want that fatal push or not? I actually think I don't want that fatal push. I think I can do better looking for proactive stuff. Nice draw there by the opponent, by the way. Draw a fresh card. Awesome. Play ponder. These cards are for sure better than randoms, so let's put them like this. Play this one. Bobble our opponent's deck. Then upkeep Bowmasters. I mean, depending on what the opponent draws. The opponent draws Snapcaster Mage. That's annoying, but that is a card that will get Bowmastered. So funnily enough, we still have a game here. I'm ahead in this game, but we still have a game. After all the bad exchanges for the opponent. Main deck Lavinia is a fun one. It's really like hit or miss. Orcish Bowmasters. And now remember, I'm drawing Thoughtseize, so that is quite bad. Thankfully, my opponent's cantrips are bad draws now. Also, yeah, if the opponent's a flow state deck, they can draw that card, which will certainly put them straight back into the game. Is this a turn where I Thoughtseize? Yeah, it now it certainly is. Let's Thoughtseize, see what you got. Have you got any flash card you were looking to eat the Bowmaster with? You did. You cheeky bugger. Okay, that's fine. Because now I'm going to just attack for one. This was the whole point of the play, to clear the way before sending my Bowmaster into combat. Now I'm going to play an 8/8 to try and close the deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. Pass. So now the opponent needs like more plow, I guess. That draw is also good. So now they bounce Murktide Regent and no, they don't. Yeah, I'm not sure about that play, buddy. Maybe they had to do it. It was really bad. Orcish Bowmasters, kill Snapcaster, attack the Teferi dead, attack the opponent's life total, pass, slow roll the Brainstorm. I think a way to lose this game is getting Brainstorm locked. My opponent needs a very specific card, basically Supreme Verdict. All right, so blue-white Lavinia, Snapcaster control. Probably a terrible matchup unless I draw very well. We can swap forces for these. Maybe that's fine. Yeah, this matchup is not good because I have some speculative cards here where if I draw this, this pile of cards, I'm rooting for my opponent to draw Tamio. And when they don't, I guess I should do a little bit of hedging here. Maybe Fatal Push is just bad in general. Let's try this out. I guess Wasteland is terrible. Okay, this is good. Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, it's a pretty cool card. Hopefully I can catch some good dazes against that deck. Between Safari, Snapcaster, and stuff. There's also a chance my opponent will play the new removal spell Erode here. I'll have to remember to at least have a think about whether to fetch basics or leave them in my deck. Ooh, the Mulligan Patrol is here. This hand looks fine. I'm actually going to get rid of Wasteland. I really don't believe Wasteland is going to catch much from my opponent's deck. But yeah, this island is not exactly great either. Land pass is exactly what we want to see. I'm actually going to go turn 1 Ponder. I think it's good to play Tamio with a Brainstorm Shield against Mr. Removal Spell. Let's have a think. They did not Tamio us turn 1. Will they be playing other creatures? Is this a Stoneforge Mystic deck? I don't mind keeping these, but I'm also dangerously aware that the opponent might just laugh at those removal spells for the remainder of the game, kill me with 4th Eolingus 10 minutes from now. So playing like this with Tamio, I think, is a key against Blue-White X, where you have time, and if you can counter a removal spell with a Brainstorm, it's generally pretty solid. This is really funny, because this card does not die to Snuff Out. So how am I playing this? I think I should stick to the plan, but it's annoying that I lose my... I also forgot about that card when I evaluated my removal spells during sideboarding. That was bad. Because that makes Snuff Out a lot worse. The opponent's mana base also, funnily enough, now turns up weak. What happens if I just... The thing is, Teferi is about to hit. So that's my reasoning for playing Tamio. If my opponent plays, like, gets one more turn and they get Teferi, then my Brainstorm response is not going to be on. So let's see. Did I get that wrong? Because if they Teferi now, they can attack the flip Tamio. Yeah, it looks like we're getting paid off here, because if I flip the Tamio on my turn, it just dies to ending. So now at least I get to do some stuff here. I don't like this pause. But I don't think the Snapcaster deck's a Stifle deck. Yep. Find this land, and now... Oh, wait a minute. They can just attack the Tamio. Okay, yeah, okay. I got a little lost here. So I guess I should have done this on my turn, because of this exact scenario. Okay, Magic's a hard game. Because if my opponent has ending, they can force this thing anyway. Sure, I save 2 damage. But yeah, I got lost here. That was not a good play. Don't try that at home. I think Snuff Out is my worst card here. Pretty easily. And then I'm not sure this matters. So yeah, soaking up 2 damage here is inconsequential. It's not a good play. No Wasteland there. Wasteland is, funnily enough, looks pretty juicy against my opponent's draw. Can I do anything smart here? I'm not known for that, but can I do anything smart? I feel like I have to kill this card first and foremost. My next card is bad. I'm looking to shuffle. And if I can play a little bit around back to basics in the process, I think this is a good time. So let's try and kill the Lavinia. Counterspell. Okay. I see you, opponent. Counterspell, huh? Okay, so that works. And now I'm going to go Tameo Flip. Because now, I mean, if they have the second ending, it is what it is. Daze is currently a dead card. So that card is even worse. So if they have Snapcaster ending, I guess we're just playing Magic like old times. That's cool as well. Okay, so Counterspell got me good. Me not thinking about Lavinia during sideboarding got me a little bit. You know, drawing that snuff out was embarrassing. And here is good old Snapcaster, mate. The opponent's living the dream here. That's what you want to see. Bring back the old times. I love playing Snapcaster. I played sometimes in Jeskai Wizard still. It looks like this opponent likes it even more than me. All right, the opponent's mana continuously seems terrible, but we haven't had a chance, aside from our mulligan decision, to make up for it. Now, when do I want the shuffle effect? Ironically, I think I want to cast Ponder now, because if I have Wasteland in my top, I guess, top two, I would be reasonably happy. Let's see if we can find something like Bowmasters. That would just be incredible. Ooh, there's exactly Orcus Bowmasters. So let's cast that card right away. Killing the Snapcaster. Trying to make our Edict good. Let's pass. Our opponent keeps getting away with this glass cannon of a mana source. I wish I could cast this Daze, but I can't. Lavinia would counter it. So now the opponent gets some nice advantage here. 3-drop Tribal. And now they're going to defend the fort. Let's see if we can find a live card here. That would be delightful. That card is a live card. That card is certainly a live card, because I think what I want to do now is Thoughtseize. Yeah, this is going to be cool. So the Narset is going to get left in play, but I think that's all right. Wait a minute. I should Thoughtseize first. Back to basics. So, funnily enough, that card is in the mix. Okay. So if my opponent draws a land, we could be in trouble. Maybe we take back to basics. I then edict my opponent's Lavinia, attack the Narset down to 1. And then the dream is to have a juicy Daze. They could go dress down Ponder here for setup. They decide to go for this one. Understandably so. Daze, return Surveillant. Huge exchange for me here. So now the Narset is dead. Nice draw. Let's see. Snapcaster Mage is probably my opponent's best card here, I would imagine. Yeah, let's take that card out. See what I have going on. Low state would be kind of cool to see. Snapcaster gone. So they have like a dress down Ponder turn, which is all good. Snuff out. That's not going to cut it. So now attack at the Planeswalker, get in the first point of damage. It's a fun draw. No fetches, no forces from the opponent. I think this game is pretty equal. The opponent's mana base is bad, though. So here's the dress down Ponder turn, which is super solid. By taking the Snapcaster, I'm basically saying I think this is going to be a long game where Swords to Plowshares is going to be in the mix eventually, and I want my Baragoyfs and Murktides and Tamios. I kind of want to try and overload my opponent in that regard. So these cards are gone. So the opponent realistically now gets to stabilize their mana with access to basic planes and then some kind of good play on top. They actually shuffle. Okay, that's not terrible. So there's step one. What can we draw? We can draw the worst card in our deck. Okay, so we could be in trouble. We could easily be in trouble here. This is the exact type of game where a card like Flow State would be insane. We have 4 of those in our deck waiting. So the opponent has to do this, which is pretty good. Can't really complain about my opponent's need to wander into Bowmasters. So thankfully, a lot of their cards are bad against Bowmasters. Of course, the first white removal takes care of that. Ooh, here's red mana. Passing here, what does that mean? They kept the cards. Yeah, I'll send both creatures here, and then I'll try and force if my opponent has something to put in the way here. But it is pretty funny that a card like even Shark Typhoon, I don't know, maybe that's a bad example. Let's pass. I wonder, so it's not Forthialingus, I think. But I think it's something expensive, something weird the opponent has. Let's see what it is. Wrath of the Skies. So the last card could be Pyroblast, but I can't worry about that. It's not. So I guess they just played around Double Days. Wow, see, there's exactly the card I wanted. Let's see what we can do with that. Oh man, another one. That's crazy. A 4/5 is pretty darn solid as well. So I'm actually going to develop that 4/1, 4/5. I don't think I'm in a hurry with regards to flow state. Let's play this card out. It's so close to lethal. Worth noting that Snapcaster Wrath of the Skies works, but what are you going to do? The opponent is thinning. I don't think they have a move. Fetch to thin. 8 life points. Wander into the Bowmasters. A little bit of pinging. The opponent likes the card, so we have a game. Land? Is this Snapcaster? No, it's not. It's another one, maybe. Okay. Wrath of the Skies is all good. Then I can replay Nethergoy from the yard. Put on pressure instantly. And funnily enough, that draw makes... The fact that I have flow state in my hand made it so that any spell and any and land would be a good draw, which is a great place to be in general. Let's get some redraws here. Let's see what the opponent's drawing. I'm not sure they wanna fetch here. Plow is obviously great. So let's exile sorcery, instant, creature, land, pass. This game is not over. The opponent will draw Swords to Plowshares and have a redraw and a brainstorm. So I'm currently ahead, but I'm not crushing my opponent. Wasteland is atrocious. Let's see if we can capitalize. Burying the opponent in cards. Cameo Brainstorm is not too shabby. Now if we find another thing here, yeah, this is good. So get rid of those 2. Am I just better off chilling here? I think so. I think I should do nothing here. Because I can cast flow states from now until the end of time if I just chill. Yeah, this is good. If the opponent had Pyro, they would have killed it. They could have Counterspell, of course. Wait a minute. Maybe I should just cast this Flow State first. Because if it gets countered, I can just take a new one. I love these two. Those are awesome. So now let's Thought Seize our opponent. See the good news. Play Nether Goyf. Return Flow State. Because if I have to force, that's my blue card. If I don't have to force, I'll cast it. So in this spot, I could have gone land Flow State. I don't really feel like bricking on blue card there. I think it's a lot better to just play it like this, but wow, what a marathon. I guess 2 marathons. That is pretty sick. All right, guys, let's play one more before we wrap things up. All right, round 3 of Flow State Dimir Tempo. I need to have a word with the MTGO team. This is a lot of no-landers getting mulliganed, but I guess that's to make sure the opponent has a chance. All right, pretty easy. Get rid of Murktide here, and we hope that the game is going to last for a few turns. Basic Island and Tameo. That is a good card against my hand specifically. Nether Goyf. I think I should just play my own Tameo and try and keep my opponent a little bit off balance. The next turn I can go Thoughtseize Nether Goyf, which is not a terrible play. Not great either, to be honest. Here comes Tameo. Uncontested Tameo. Still insane in any fair capacity. Brainstorming here. Okay. So the opponent was probably on a 1-lander with that combo. You can do a lot worse. That's not bad. What does that do for my situation? Flip Tameo is pretty hard to deal with. I have to overwhelm it with combat damage, which is very hard against like a Fatal Push deck. Or I have to have like some super timed Bowmasters at some point. Also, in this exchange, any or in this situation, any exchange is good for the opponent, right? Kill my land, kill my Tameo, Thoughtseize me, like everything is good for the opponent here. Which I'm pretty sad about. Here's Rock Solid Mana Base. Here's killing the Tameo. Yeah. Yeah, opponent. I see what you're doing. You're trying to crush me. So here comes Thoughtseize into a creature, which is the only move I can make. These cards are insane. Now the thing is, if my opponent Force of Wills Nether Goyf, I simply don't think I can win. But that is a little bit of a hard play to make. I guess I'll grab the Murktide and then play Nether Goyf. Yeah, I'm firmly losing this game. I kind of need my opponent to mess up along the way. So if they force this card plus Tameo, now in theory, they might have to bring back Fatal Push and we have a normal game. Let's see about that. This is kind of the situation I was hoping for. I think this is my best bet. That they didn't have the guts to pull the Force Will out because Daze would just crush them. And then that we get into a situation where my opponent either has to minus Tameo or get into a situation where I get to start using it as a punching bag while the opponent is trying to, offload Ponder Flow State. Because they could have like a Ponder Flow State turn here. And then on my next turn, My next turn is not very impressive, unless I get help from the top of the deck. Good old mirror match here to round out the video. You love to see it. I don't love my opponent had rock solid mana base, Tameo, and I had to do a mulligan, play on the draw here. I don't love that part, but I love everything else. Unfortunately, the opponent found the land here because they kept the cards. That is not good for business. The Ponder gone. Low state, Force of Will is there. So if they can get to a turn of like... Okay. So this is just a sequencing thing, right? They should cast their low state first rather than plus their Tameo. Just if something changes along the way. It's just good to cast your... do your like cantripping and whatever, and then make your move with something that is not... Oh, wow. The opponent is really respecting days. They could have cast low state here, but they didn't. Crazy. Do I? If I draw Bobble here, that card is terrible, I think. Let's see. I think what I should do here is Wasteland, then cast Flow State, because I really don't want my opponent to daze back their duel. I'm trying to find Bobble here to make like a bigger Nethergoyf. Force of Willing a what's it called? Anticipate. Not too sure about the opponent's play here. This is certainly the game to make bad plays in, right? They're firmly ahead, but I don't love Force of Willing. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they just assumed it was on. I guess that was the case. But the whole point is, they played around days when they let the Netherglyph go, right? They played around days by sacking Clue instead of Flow State, and then they just played into days here, which would be a disaster to get days there. So, yeah, you have to really pay attention to the details. Here's a cool, somewhat cool situation where, well, I don't know if it's that cool, but the opponent at least has some kind of choice. If they think this flow state is on, then there's a choice. Also, funnily enough, putting... Nope, never mind. I was about to say that putting Murktide to the yard would grow Nethergoyf, but that's not the case. But yeah, Magic's a hard game, so I make a lot of bad plays as well, right? So I hope you don't take this as any, like, bad blood or whatever. I continuously make bad plays and talk about how Magic's a tough game. That is an amazing draw, because this grows to Nethergoyf, and if I find a land, Flow State is on. I do find a land, but I also find a Bowmaster. I think it's more important to cast the flow. So this game is now somewhat even, which is funny. Here's Flow State now turned on by the Brainstorm. Yes, please. Do I like these? I don't think... Wait a minute. They still have Flow State in hand. I do like these for that reason. So now I'm going to attack the Tameo for 3. So what they can do is cash in the Tameo to push to Nethergoyf, and then we kind of start over. This card is gone, by the way. They pitched the Flow State. Okay, so I'm missing details here. I could have had a Tameo instead of Daze. And then again, do I think that Baragoyf is going to hit the stack at some point? Maybe. So I should have certainly paid attention to what they pitched. They pitched their own card advantage Flow State to counter my cantrip Flow State. That was an unbelievable exchange for me. Unbelievably good. So the opponent could restart the game here with cashing in Tameo, push to Nethergoyf. In which case, I have a Flow State and they probably don't. And then we have an even game. All right, this turned into a good game after all. Okay. They want to keep it up. That's understandable. Land is good, because now if they have Bowmasters, it's double chump block. Exactly this situation. It works. Nice play. So now my opponent is forcing me to find a Bowmaster to break the serve here. What a great game. Okay. Let's start by casting another flow state. I'm looking for exactly this card. Orcish Bowmaestros. Bowmasters and Thoughtseize. Those seem pretty darn solid. Let's cast Thoughtseize. Wow, see, there's Baragoyf. So now Magic gets fun because now it's Chumblock City. And then how do I play my next turn? How do I play my next turn? Because the opponent's Tamio goes to 7, and Bowmasters is in theory a big blowout. But they also, at the same time, they know I kept my Ponder, so they have to think about it, that card. The best card in the opponent's deck right now is Thoughtseize. Could also just kill... Yep, that's what they're going for now. Just killing the Nethergoyf off. I'll have to think about what to do now. Tamio. Okay, that's a good one. This game is great. This game turned out incredibly well. Let's have a think about this. If I replay Nethergoyf out of the graveyard, I'll start, you know, attacking the Tamio, but I think this is slightly better. Tamio pass, and now I have Force of Will for, you know, Murktide and that kind of stuff. And then next turn, I'm bringing back Nethergoyf. I'm trying to... I guess we block here for old time's sake. I think this is timely, but let's see. Ponder is good, but we have to cast Nethergoyf. Exile creature, sorcery, land, and our only instant. All right. So this is a... I was about to say, this is the spot where... Ooh. Yeah, I have to... Yeah, this sucks. I'll have to Force a Will a Daze to even get a creature going, which is, you know, that's, you know, has to happen. All right. Nethergoyf established. The opponent can now do some more minusing, and we're still playing that game. But wow, what a game. I thought I was easily cooked in the beginning. I think if the opponent plays slightly better, I am easily cooked in the beginning of this game. Let's see what the opponent drew. They drew Thoughtseize. Great card to get rid of my Ponder. And now they look to be in Chumblock mode. Cancel that. Never mind. Huh. Now I like my spot. Thoughtseize, terrible draw. Ooh, I should have looked for a bobble here on the clue. Dang, Magic's a hard game. Both my opponent and I are making some suboptimal moves here. Because imagine here, I want to crack this clue anyway, and if I just turn into a bobble, I just lost damage. That's not good. Land is not bad, so now I will flip. Bowmaster's a great draw. Pass. And now things are looking a little grim for the opponent. Here's the clue. I will hit the Tamio. So let's see. They probably need something like Baragoyf or what have you. Ponder. Yeah, I'll keep pecking the Tameo here. Once you have to play into your opponent's Bowmaster, it's not really ideal. Let's see if the opponent drew their own. They drew their own Bowmaster. My Bowmaster's down. And then I'm going to Thoughtseize my opponent's last card, well, and best card, and then I'm going to come over the top with yet another Bowmaster. It's pretty sick. The opponent stays back for blocking duty. Let's see what you're working with over there, buddy. Naked Force. So now, if I attack with these... Maybe I should just get it over with here. Play Orcish Bowmasters onto theirs. Because this will grow my army, which is amazing here. Double attack the Tameo. 2 3-powered blockers coming in. I mean, what is the opponent going to do? A double block here? I don't know. They probably should double block, to be honest. Yep, they will. So now they're on 0 cards, and I can cameo back. Good old flow state. Pass. The opponent has 1 shot in the chamber from Tameo. Wow, this might have been one of the best, let's say, educational games of Tempo on the channel, because I had a lot of moves where I could have played slightly better. So did the opponent, and I feel like my opponent's just a little bit. I'm not going to call it sloppy, but just a little bit of suboptimal play, and then one more. Like this game slipped through their cracks, the crack of their fingers. I don't know the metaphor. I feel like this was the opponent's game, game to win. But that's Magic the Gathering, right? You have to play it out with the tools you have available and give it your all. I'm gonna just do Force of Will for those 4. Just give me a sec. I just have to pause the video and then I'll be right back. All right, let's play Magic. Submit the deck. Yeah, I don't think I was supposed to win that game 1. I feel like everything that I needed to have happened from the Thoughtseize in the beginning, the Nethergoyf sticking, the opponent, you know, fighting over the 2-mana Anticipate flow state, to I needed a Bowmaster on my flow state or whatever, Bowmaster land. Can't remember exactly, but it's like everything came to fruition. So I think the most important thing to learn there is you have to, I was in a terrible spot, but I needed to be able to envision, how do I actually win this game? If you cannot do that, there's just so much lower chance that you will get there. So I think that was the lesson. I knew what needed to happen, what bluff I was trying to sell. Oh man, here we go again. And thankfully it worked out that time. The third C is abysmal. These cards are fine. Not great, though. So next turn I go Edict. The following turn I go Flow State. I mean, I guess this is good enough. So I'm actually going to stack them like this in a world where I get Thoughtseized and my opponent is like, that Murktide is going to be tough to deal with. I mean, I might as well, right? Because if I keep 2 Murktides, there's just a 0% chance that happens. Okay, so very good start for the opponent, unfortunately. This could be one of the famous Wasteland Pass situations for me, because I know my next card is, I believe, Murktide Regent. Yeah, maybe that was terrible. I think I was supposed to have Fetch Land on top of my deck, but apparently it wasn't good enough for that. Yeah, this should have been Fetch Land. Okay, I'm going to play Wasteland Pass here, which looks super weak, but it's just a good move to make sure it cannot get wasted again on a duel, right? let's see what the opponent makes of this. So the opponent, sure, they could wasteland me here. They don't seem to like that though. Okay, so we kind of get our will here. I think I am willing to lose today's because this game is kind of getting out of hand. So I will go ahead and cast Sheldred's Edict. If I get dazed, the game is probably over. But if I don't get dazed, this game goes on and I have turned on flow state. And this is a playable game rather than the opposite. My land is gone. Let's see what the opponent can do. I'm pretty excited about just casting flow state here and see what happens. This looks to be a Bowmaster situation for my opponent. I don't mind that because I'm going to see a lot of cards here. Flow state on the stack. The opponent should probably respond with Bowmasters. There's no reason to give me like a weak flow state, including days and then hitting. Also, the opponent, to their credit, they've been doing a good job of establishing basics, which is just a good way to play the game. Okay, they do go for that one. Okay, so this is probably going to be a Baragoyf game with the way this is developing. So I'll actually go for a Bobble and push here. And then I'm going to cash this in and kind of accept if my opponent has Bowmasters, but that's Magic the Gathering. Nile Spellbomb, that's a cool card. Lots of people thought about that. Okay, here's Bowmasters. I don't mind this too much, to be honest. This is just, yeah, it's fine. They developed that first. Now, of course, I don't have mine, but in general, I don't mind this play pattern. Because I'll be looking for mine, right? All right. The opponent draws Nile Spellbomb. What kind of land situation are they working with? So I resolved a flow state. My opponent clued a few times, so the opponent is slightly ahead here, of course, but this is a high... It reminds me of old school vintage games where both players have Library of Alexandria going. I'm sure that happens in old school and stuff as well. It's kind of a like Howling Mine, essentially, right? Pretty cool when Magic... I love Magic when players have equal resources, right? I'm pretty good at playing, from behind. I know what needs to happen. Playing one ahead. But even like a lot of resources versus a lot of resources, that's pretty cool. That reminds me of Pauper. That card is totally fine. I could see, yeah, I was about to say, I could see my opponent just popping this straight up and saying, I don't want graveyards around. Here's a Daze. My opponent has 5 cards. Is my Surveilling gone? My Surveilling is not gone, so I have some digs at the sorcery. Am I interested in this mana source? That's kind of the issue. What happens if I just go Tameo, Fetchland, Pass? Not sacking, because I actively, well, I don't mind my opponent casting Baragoyfs, right? But I want this mana source for clues and stuff. And have a double push. So I'm currently super weak to Murktide Regent. So if I was very desperate, I would wasteland my opponent. But every time they just have the next land, I look like such a fool. Pushing that, good play. So we're currently in trouble, but we have some life total to work with. Let's see what this is. The opponent's casting Flow State for the big amount. Yep, we can't let that happen. You know how that works. I should Daze here. That's just a juicy Daze. Turn 6 days in the mirror. Can't really rely on that. So the opponent either has no land or a tap land. So if they have no land, we're fighting 4 spells. The opponent's attacking with the logic of, well, Orcish Bowmasters is insane against me regardless. Or they're slow rolling a Daze. I can't rule that out. But let's see what this is. I'm dreaming of milling like a Ponder here. Milling Brainstorm is not quite the same because of its type, but I guess we'll take it. Tamio. We could do one more turn of that. Another move is to say it's Murktide time. Problem is, my opponent's Murktide is beating my Murktide. Okay. It's time to play the embarrassing Anticipate. Fatal Push and... Oh, yeah. Never mind. Okay, so that's... yep, well, can you undo this? You can't, so don't fat finger that one. I wanted to land here. Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay, this could be very, very troublesome. I really needed a land here, because third Fatal Push is just not going to matter to the same extent. And this is where my opponent kind of buries me. Okay, so flow state is kind of like Ponder. Don't fat finger anything. Yeah, I wanted to land here to have a slightly better mana base. To be able to double spell a little bit, to be able to be better against Daze, to be able to be better against Wasteland. Here's Brainstorm, a good window for it. And it looks like we'll have a game 3 in our hands, because the opponent's just cruising from here. I'm losing to a lot of cards, including their Murktide. Just my opponent 1-for-1ing me into the abyss. Yes, drawing Low State would be a good start to a comeback. Because this is really going to come down to the wire and 1-for-1 exchanges. Here's an attack. Let's see what land the opponent found. Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, so my opponent is really going to go all the way there. Okay, so I want to Thoughtseize and push this turn cycle. That is a lot of, unfortunately, a lot of answers. But I think this is how I have to play. Grab the Brazen. Attack. Pass. Gone. So basically, yeah, what am I hoping for now? I'm hoping for something like my opponent. Oh, they play Kaito as well. Then it's certainly GG's. Okay, we're not beating Kaito. Okay, so Kaito on top of flow states. That's tough for the mirror. All right, we got ourselves a nasty surprise there. And clicked poorly on the flow state. That didn't exactly help. Another great tempo game. Let's see if we can get 3 in a row here. That would be pretty darn sick. Always cool with positive messages. I'm pretty lucky. Every time I record, I feel like I get a cool message. Let's see if we can have a third one. The opponent's really grinding. The opponent thinks the format is going to be giga grindy, because look at Mystic Sanctuary, Kaito on top of flow states. I mean, come on, man. That is a lot of grindy elements. So we really don't want to go late against this player. Yep, the opponent acknowledges the bad force in game 1. That's magic. I think hopefully you agree that I don't mind talking about my own shortcomings. So we're just here to learn, right? So whether I play suboptimally, my opponent does, or my opponent plays like a champion, or I do, I'm just here to highlight like good play, right? That's basically my purpose, is to highlight good plays, encourage attention to detail and all of that stuff. I don't really care if my opponent beats me in a league match or whatever. That's not why I'm here. I'm trying to remember my record here. Am I 2-0? Okay. All right, all right. Let's see if we can finish the job here. I'm always excited for the 3-0 videos because then I get to continue the run over on my membership page where YouTube barons get access to, you know, the closeout of leagues and Metagame Monday After Dark. They get access to my series that I play with Eureka. And yeah, whenever I find the time to record challenges. So all in all, just very cool. All right, this hand is pretty polarized in the sense that if I go down the path of turn 1 Tameo and I get wasted, I look like a fool. Netherglyph is off the board. This is actually a cool one. Because if I play turn on Thoughtseize, I get cooked by Wasteland. I'm actually going to cast a Ponder and try and postpone, let's say, the pain and try and embrace a longer game. I don't really want to lose to the random Wasteland. I have decent stuff to do. These cards are good. No way for me to put an instant into the graveyard, though. What does that change? What does that change? Maybe I'm supposed to go flow state to the bottom. I think this is all right. Got the land I wanted. I have a Ponder lined up. I'm weak to turn 1 Tameo. That's just something you have to live with. Okay. So here comes the Wasteland. And now I can kind of do the same. I'll make the same play here because this smells a little bit of double Wasteland, I'm afraid. Let's Ponder again to try and get good mana. This is in fact good mana. Maybe this Daze is for later. I don't want to reveal the Snuff Out to a Thoughtseize if I can help it. And I got to my next land. Let's see if I'm right about the double Wasteland. The Snuff Out is also conveniently my instant, so that if my opponent goes Tameo, I can Snuff Out and flow state. But I think in that case, I would rather just develop 2 creatures. I think it's just better to put on pressure. Now I'm, funnily enough, rooting for my opponent to have Tameo. Island. Spell Bomb. Sure, buddy. You have a Spell Bomb. Here's Snuff Out. And the next card down is Daze. So I'm probably not going to get to that card. What happens if I play a couple of creatures here? It's probably pretty strong. Is it better for me to Thoughtseize? That would be the question. Thoughtseize and then Tameo, I guess. I think I'll actually go with my creatures. Putting creatures into play kind of forces the opponent to spend mana, and if they spend mana, they're not really developing, and then I can get in a good Thoughtseize later. They could be, I mean, if they Daze here, I'm totally fine with that. Note that Bowmasters and Spellbomb takes care of Netherglyph. And if they're weak to Murktide, they might have to crack the Spellbomb now. And then I'm, you know, trying to rebuild. Okay, once again, the opponent is the one with the basics, and I'm the one with the duels. Nice. Nice, just a nice habit to build your deck in a way that basics are convenient, right? Fatal Push on that card. That's kind of the theory. Now I just have a beater in play, and my opponent is totally happy with that. Wasteland, an atrocious draw, unfortunately. I want to play Wasteland. Now, do I want my opponent to brainstorm in response? I think if I play the land out, they're not going to brainstorm. So let's do that. I'm trying to bluff Orcish Bowmasters here. Yeah, this is not good for me. This is not good for me at all. Okay, so at least my opponent's mana is kind of jammed. Force a Will is a card I think I should be welcoming. So maybe I should just take the Thoughtseize. Maybe I should take the Thoughtseize. Yeah, let's do that. Attack for 3. So this game has all the factors to become a good game. What I dislike is I just put sorcery in my opponent's graveyard without them having to spend the mana, which makes Flow State an incredible draw. Also, my card Snuff Out could be a dead card this game if my opponent just draws like Bowmasters, what's it called? Baragoyf, Kaitos, and stuff. I feel like the opponent will crack their Spellbomb now and draw a card. Let's see if I'm right about that. Spellbomb, because also they know if I have Bowmasters, I can't play it right now. So if they draw land, they can slam Bowmasters. And then what do I do about that? I think I wasteland my own land. Okay. That's good for me. Let's draw. We have lots of good cards, but that's not one of them. Is this where I cast the Anticipate? It probably is. It's a sad day. I'm simply too far away. Brainstorm. Oh my god, I did it again. I thought I was picking 2 cards. So thankfully this time this was the right one, but come on, man. I need to work on that. If I get dazed here, I think it's fine. Because my opponent has Bowmasters, so waiting is not exactly all fun and dandy. My opponent lets that resolve. I have already played a land. I think I want to leave the door open for fetching away the wasteland, and then I want to hide what I believe to be my best card. What is my best card? That probably is the card Fatal Push. Let's attack for 3. So Wasteland is a card I could choose to draw into later, but for now it doesn't look all that juicy. I'll have to remember my opponent has a Force Blue card in hand, so they could build some game plan with Baragoyf with backup, and I'm probably going to get cooked. Okay. So it looks like the Wasteland would have been good. But was that ever going to be better than Snuff Out? That's a tough sell, I think. That card getting killed is annoying. And I know my opponent's 4 cards left. This is going to be tough. So what am I rooting for now? I guess I'm rooting for... No, not even Murktide, because I would lose to that card. The problem is the Fatty plus Force backup. That kills me. Or maybe my opponent will play around Ace. Maybe not. Ponder's good. If I had Bowmasters, I wouldn't play it because they have their Bowmasters, so we kind of have that sub-game going on. Okay, the opponent likes the cards, then plays land. So they just have the same 4 cards, right? Pretty sure about that. So they like the card because of what? Why do they like the land? To play around Days, maybe? I'll try and get a better card than Wasteland. Note that I don't have Revolt currently, but Blues do a pretty good job. This card is solid. They could just snuff out this Tamio now if they wanted to. Let's see what they decide to do. Snuff out. Yep. Play another Goyf, pass the turn. I guess if that gets forced, I'll replay it. Yep, pass. Let's see what the opponent kept on top, because they kept land and the next card. Unfortunately, wait a minute, deck. Wait a minute. So that looks like... So if they have Kaito, I guess I'm just cooked. So that's why I shouldn't Fatal Push, because I'm just losing, because they have Force Blue card, right? Brainstorm. Okay. So they could have Kaito underneath there, of course. And my opponent's trying to finish the job. 2 cards left. That's probably Force Blue card, to be honest. I'll just take a draw here. Bowmaster? Flow State with... Yeah, that's a must force. Flow State is a must force. Can I make a smart play where I kill the Bowmaster and I'm basically trying to tell my opponent I just drew Brainstorm? And I eat the force? I wonder if that's possible. Let's see. Let's try it out. I'm saying, hey, dude, I just drew Brainstorm, and I need to cast Brainstorm to win this game. Oh, man, we did it. We did it. We found the bluff. Now we capitalize. Now it's 2 cards, right? Instant sorcery. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that was backbreaking for the opponent. Now, Baragoyf is a weak spot. I have my own now. Let's grab that and a Fatal Push. And then let's attack for 4 here. What did my opponent do? Wait a minute. My opponent put a card on top. Okay. So let's pass, and if my opponent attacks, I will push it. Because there's no way they keep these in this spot. So they're just losing to the card, right? Fatal Push onto that clown. Yes, you got it. I'll hang on to my push. I really don't care about this Bowmaster. Land is not bad. And here comes the big boy. And it's time for the opponent to draw Kaito. Or I think they're a deck with Flow State in it, so tons of ways to win this game. Yep. I will fetch now. Go for the swamp. Push the big boy. And now I can even play 2 more big boys. So force the jump here is good. Play Nethergoyf. Play Nethergoyf. Exile what? Instant, sorcery, land, creature. You're up. Sweet, sweet match. What a sweet match. Sanctuary. Sanctuary and Kaito in this deck. I mean, that was super sweet. I was excited to play this run. 3 absolute grind fests. I hope you are still with me. But yeah, I'll continue this run for my members. So if you want to check that out, me going for the trophy with Flow State powered Dimir Tempo, go and had to become a YouTube Baron. You get access to tons of extra videos for the low cost of $5, so I can highly recommend it. And as always, if you give it a go for a month and you think it sucked, let me know and I'll happily refund you. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to welcome you back to some more sweet, sweet Legacy action.